Yeah. Hair flip, yeah, I'm a badass bitch. I don't like it. Hair flip, yeah. Oh my god. So you guys should be happy. Oh my goodness. Hair flip. But anyways, hair flip. Hair flipping on these hoes. Hi.
A post from the Washington Post. Where are black men in the fight for black women? Why aren't more black men outraged in action when President Trump insults black women? For months now, Trump has been targeting black women with white supremacist tropes, low IQ, nasty, losers, dogs, stupid is what he calls them. Sit down, he scolded a black female reporter at a recent news conference, his tone as contemptuous as a plantation owner whose black maid had dared to question his judgment. I've been searching social media and other outlets for signs of concern. Response by black men. A new favorite quote of black women from Beyonce to Gen X bloggers seems to be one from Malcolm X uttered in 1962. The most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman. Malcolm X concludes by saying that a black man should be willing to lay down his life to support and protect her. Is there even a hint of that spirit in reality? What I found was mostly black women once again organizing in self-defense, with the relatively few black men giving shout-outs and way to go girls on Twitter and Facebook. President and Director Counsel of the NAACP Legal Defense and Educational Fund was not satisfied with the responses. Trump's insult of black female journalists goes too far, and I will not accept the rearing with outrage that is supposed to excuse the failure to stand up and refuse to accept this racist treatment of a professional doing her job. She tweeted, "There are so many serious issues we must confront in the coming days, but we cannot let this pass as business as usual." She came up with a hashtag to continue organizing. Enough is enough. The actress Anika Noni Rose tweeted a suggestion. "Dear news outlets, you want to do something radical and powerful? Next White House press event with the president, only send your black women reporters, if you have any, with a hashtag." Michelle Norris, a former colleague of the Washington Post and an NPR reporter, replied, "Please make this happen. A room filled with black women gathering information." In my opinion, black women are the most unprotected, disrespected, and forgotten about person in America. Black women have literally helped build this country on their back. And when it comes time for them to be protected, and when it comes time for us to stand with our voice to make sure that it echoes, I feel that a lot of black men fall short. I feel a lot of black men are more consistent when it comes to something happening to another black man before it is a woman. And when black men do come forward and speak for women, especially black women, I feel that the energy and the attention is short, meaning that they are forgotten about soon after. George Floyd name still rings bells to this day. It's still riots and lootings and all type of things in that nature going on to this day with him losing his life. But Breonna Taylor loses her life too, and it seems to be shushed. It seems to be something that falls to the wayside, and I believe the reason is because she's a black woman. If she was a black man, she would be just as important as a George Floyd or a Daunte Wright or Trayvon Martin. But since she is a black woman, she is forgotten about. We need to give the same energy that we would give a black man dying of something that he did not do, of not having a weapon or just being an innocent in a situation and their life being taken. We need to do the same thing when it comes to black women. We need to stand firm and we need to make our voices shout. We need to roar instead of just war when something happens to a black man, because it's usually done in a different tone. But still at the same time, we are people. We all matter. And black women are the ones that give birth to these same black men that black men feel that they need to fight harder for than the women that make sure that they're here in the first place to give you a reason to fight at all. So once again, shout out to all of the black women, and keep doing what you do. We love you, and I will always stand for you because no one else does.
Better turn around, y'all. And don't come back. Don't come back. What? Don't come back. It is the newsboy running with him now.
Come on, y'all. We were riding down this block, and these white people start saying, "Get out of here, niggas. You know, get out of my neighborhood. Don't come to this neighborhood." And then they start hitting on her.
Throwing rocks and everything else.
Throwing rocks. Because we were in their neighborhood.
We went on a bike hike to McDonald's. We didn't mean to bother anybody.
We had a nice
We saw a
time
parade, we
down
saw
there.
a gathering, so we went down there to see what was happening. All right. I mean, we didn't bother anybody. We weren't looking for trouble. I never even know people around here were like that. I've never experienced anything like this in my life.
What happened to you?
Nothing happened to me, but this little boy, short boy about my size, or little short, had picked up a rock, and he was in the front of all these tall hunkies. But he threw the rock. He tried to hit my sister, but he almost hit me about that much away from me. And I was sure wish he had hit me with that rock. I would pick up the rock right next to me and hit him right dead in his face. They always say niggas are doing everything. They always say we're doing everything, right? We didn't. Every time the white people come down the block, we don't push them out their neighborhood and throw rocks and start hitting them. We don't bother the white people around our neighborhood, but when we get in a white neighborhood, they just push us out.
Yeah. Everybody with us, they said we're nothing, you know, they were a piece of dirt, dogs. I mean, that's the way you treat an animal. I mean, God, we're human beings. You don't treat other people like that. It's just wrong. Black, white, I don't care. A person is a person. Skin should have no bearing on how you treat a person. That's just wrong.
I hate their goddamn guts.
Speak.
I can't say that I hate them. I can't say that it's totally the kids' fault. I mean, I'm sure their parents had some bearing on the way they feel and everything else. I think it's just the system. I don't know. I can't say that I hate them because I don't hate anybody.
Do you forgive them?
No. No. Can't take back no hurt. But they gonna always do that.
They always spit on us like we some dogs. They always gonna
spit back
do that.
on them.
Ain't nothing gonna change.
So we went down to go see the parade, and I laugh about it to this day because it was a parade to get the black people out of Rosedale.
It's the summer of 1975. White residents in Rosedale, Queens are protesting black families moving into the neighborhood. These are scenes from a documentary produced by journalist Bill Moyers.
Does he have a right to live here?
No.
Why not?
Because he's black.
This was not the South. This was not Greenville, Mississippi, or Spartanburg, South Carolina, or Atlanta, Georgia. This was right in the heart of the greatest metropolitan area in the country.
I know watching those clips were very hard. Being a black person in America has never been easy, but once again, when it comes to the black woman, they have always had a different fight than we have as black men. I respect the black woman because they have the power to turn the other cheek. They have the power to keep fighting and keep being persistent, even when they feel that they have no fight left in them. Once again, a journey to the past to see where a lot of this racial tension has come from definitely gives a person a lot of education on why we are still being treated this way to this day. It's generational. It's something that is being passed down from family to family, to person, to friend, to where black women especially do not have the power to be able to be who they deserve to be due to what they've done and how they have provided for this country. Not only have they provided things for the economy, they've also provided it in any other way, shape, or form, from inventions to creations to you name it. Black women have did it, but still they are treated as the less than. They are still treated as if they don't matter. And how many times can a person turn the other cheek? All of these black women were respecting their neighborhood. They did nothing wrong. They did nothing to receive the type of treatment that they got, yet they still got it. And if you notice, the black men, even the young little black boys, when the camera was on them, they really had nothing to say. The women were the ones that spoke up, and they still do this to this day. The majority of protesters, rioters, looters, anything in that nature are black women. They stand firm for black men. Even these young ladies, these young women, they are still fighting. You know, even as young ladies, as children, as teenagers, they are still fighting for the black men. But when we are supposed to be there for them, where are we?
They started throwing rocks.
Hearing the word, hearing it directed at me, why are you calling me that? That's not me. You know, I've always been told that's not me. I didn't understand. I was like, who do you think you are to say we can't come here? Like, how dare you?
What happened to you?
This little boy, he threw the rock. He tried to hit my sister, but he almost hit me about that much away from me. And I was sure wish he had hit me with that rock. I would pick up the rock right next to me and hit him right dead in his face.
It's in the home of Arthur Shores, whose home was bombed 3 different times during the 60s.
Jeff Drew cannot forget what life was like living in the segregated South of the 1960s.
And I was laying on the floor watching the TV, and the next moment, me and the TV are at the ceiling. It had literally blown us both off the floor. And I had my first taste of what a dynamite blast felt like.
Drew's family wasn't welcome in an all-white neighborhood. Determined to stay, his father took action to protect his family from hate groups.
That wall was built to stop the bullets and the dynamite that the Klan would shoot and throw.
Frankie Adams Johnson grew up in Mississippi, surrounded by symbols of racial segregation.
Whites were privileged, blacks were unprivileged, and we lived with signs of symbols of segregation. Whites here, blacks here.
You've got to keep the white and the black separate.
50 years ago, Birmingham was known as the most segregated city in the South. An example was here at the Lyric Theater. White customers could go through this entrance, while black customers had to go around the corner to a back alley entrance that was marked colored only.
I feel these next clips are important because we need to recognize, especially white people, that the N-word is still very powerful. It still affects us. As much power as we don't want to give it as black people, it still does something to us. And still, to this day, black women are the majority of the ones that receive this type of disrespect. And pay attention to these clips and notice how most of these black women have black men that are nearby, and none of them really defend them how they're supposed to defend them. But pay attention to how the black women stand firm once again and defend themselves, their race, and also other men that look like they do. So once again, much respects and much prop to the black women of today. They still deal with this type of prejudice and with these type of racial slurs on a day-to-day basis, and they always have to turn the other cheek.
Fucker. Eric. Go ahead, I will. Do it. Sit down. You dare talk to me in front of my kids like that, motherfucker. Call the cops because you threatened me. Watch this. It's not even worth it. Watch it. It's threatening. They're niggers. That's why, because they're fucking niggers in these cases.
Oh, don't say that.
Eric! Put your hands on me. Come on. Eric. Put your hands on me. Put them on me.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry. I don't care. Eric. You motherfucker.
Eric.
You motherfucker.
I'm a nigger, right?
Motherfucker. That's why you're a nigger in these cases. Please. Watch this.
She's my customer.
She's a
I'm a
You're a
What?
really?
Yeah,
Go.
Wow.
my own YouTube.
No.
Yeah. No, that's
Think I
okay.
need
Thank
that?
you very much, sir.
Ma'am, ignore her.
She thinks I think that.
Ma'am.
I'm on every
No.
universe.
We're gonna
I'm on
broadcast
every universe.
There you go. That's it. There you go.
Caught on camera, racial slurs flying out of North Fort Myers restaurant
because it's New York. When Catherine Graves took her headphones off,
Wife.
she says she came face to face with this racist tirade, a stranger approaching her and spewing hate. I had my phone in my hand and I crossed the street and started recording.
Table and tell us that we are the rudest people that she has ever met. Look at her. She told us we are getting off work, we paying for our food just like everybody else, and she told us that we are the rudest people ever. Here's the thing. What you gotta understand is that you don't know what people going through. Oh, you want to come over here? You want to come?
She ain't gonna come over here.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will. Don't talk about them on some real stuff.
Good friends that are black, and I love them.
We never said anything about color. We never said it. So here's the thing. Let me understand.
You're too loud.
We're too loud.
In your opinion, let me show you my money. It's just as green as yours.
Right. Oh, you're so stupid.
No.
So call your black friends.
Notice how the majority of the black women in those clips did not put their hands on anybody. They were obviously blatantly disrespected in a tone that no one ever, especially a person of color, should have to deal with. And they stayed neutral. They stayed peaceful. But then when a black woman reacts like this...
My husband is right there with his black ass. Okay, I don't give a fuck.
All I said was excuse me.
The fuck? Watch your mouth. Watch your fucking mouth.
I said excuse me.
Okay, I said excuse me, and you got to have a room with me. You got to have a room with me. All I did was fuck past you.
That's your
All I did was fuck past you. You start talking about your black husband. I don't give a fuck about your black husband. Just because you suck black dick don't mean you're not a racist. You can suck all of it. You can call me a nigga all you want to. Bitch, I'm not fucking ass in this store, bitch. Call me a nigga again. Call me a nigga again. Call me a nigga again. Say the word nigga, bitch. I'm the right one. Try it. That's what the fuck I thought. Watch your fucking mouth.
Excuse me.
The wrong nigger. I'm the wrong nigger. I'll beat your ass in this motherfucking store. I will beat your ass. Say nigger again.
Nigger.
frowned upon, and the black woman is looked at as an aggressor, although someone has blatantly came in her face and disrespected her, called her a racial slur. And to most people of color, calling them a racial slur is a way of letting them know that you want to get physical, that a physical altercation can transpire, because everyone knows how deadly that word can be. Yet white people still use it as if it's something that will not get them in trouble. Racism and prejudice is still alive and well, even in our school systems. So yes, you heard what the teacher said. I'm not going to repeat it. But at the same time, she also stated that he was going to get shot. Once again, stereotyping the black man as that's all we're good at, either a good jump shot, slinging some crack rock, or being shot, like one or the other. That's, a black man's future. So very prejudiced, very racist. But with her stating that, let's get into the reason she did, all of the stereotypes that she's trying to place on him are an actual reality. Now let's get into other mothers and families' reality of their kids being killed.
George Zimmerman, the man accused of murdering him.
So you think he's yelling help?
Yes.
All right, what is your...
After a single gunshot is heard on the tape, the screaming suddenly stops.
I don't hear him yelling anymore. Do you hear anything?
No, I don't, because I'm hiding upstairs. There was a gunshot right outside our house.
That's why prosecutors insist those screams came from a desperate, unarmed teenager fighting for his life.
I'm giving you a lawful order. Get out of the car now, or I'm going to remove you.
And I'm calling my lawyer.
I'm going to yank you out of here.
Okay, you going to yank me out of my car?
Get out.
Okay, all right.
25.
Let's do this.
Yeah, we're going to.
Yeah, don't touch me.
Get out of the car.
Don't touch me. I'm not under arrest. You don't have the right to take me.
You are under arrest.
I'm under arrest for what?
25,
for what?
7 County FM 1098. Just
For
north
what?
of 290. Send me another unit. Get out of the car.
Another unit at number 298.
Get out of the car now.
Why am I being apprehended? You trying to give me a ticket
I
for your
said
failure?
get out of the car.
Why am I being apprehended? You
I'm
just
giving
opened
you a
my car
lawful order.
door.
Kings and Queens, it is March 1st, 2015. I want to first of all say I apologize. I am sorry, my kings and queens. It's been 2 long weeks and I have been missing in action. But I gotta be honest with you guys. I am suffering from something that some of you all may be dealing with right now. It's a little bit of depression as well as PTSD. I've been real stressed out over these past couple of weeks, but that does not excuse me not keeping my promise to you all by letting you know that somebody cares about you, someone loves you, and that you can go out there and do great things. But I want you guys to know that I'm a human. And so if there are any of you that are dealing with these same things, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, it's okay. It is okay to talk about it. I think that those illnesses are something that the African American culture likes to turn a blind eye to and act like that they don't affect us. And they do. They really do. So I'm coming out here now, Sandy Speaks, and letting you know that, yeah, I deal with it. And some of you watching this probably deal with it too. And you have to know that it is okay.
21-year-old Dylan Roof could hear the families, but he could not see them. Bond was set at $1 million on one of the charges. Justice correspondent Jeff Pegues has more from that hearing. Jeff?
Scott, Dylan Roof is being held in a jail cell in a building behind this barbed wire fence. We're told that he's in solitary confinement and under suicide watch.
What is your age?
21. Dylan Roof stood emotionless as he heard the charges against him. 9 counts of murder for the 3 men and 6 women investigators say he gunned down Wednesday night.
Don't do me like that, man. Please. Okay, can I talk to you, please? Listen, you get in this car. We can talk. I am claustrophobic. I'm hearing you. You're not working with me. God, I'm claustrophobic. Get in the car. Get in the car. Get me in the front. Please. No, you're not in the front. I'm claustrophobic. Get in the car. Okay. I'm not a bad guy, man. Get in the car. I'm not a bad guy.
Back of the house, there's a blue car parked in front of the garage. He turns on his flashlight and checks the gate to the backyard. That's at 2:32 a.m. and 24 seconds. It's been 42 seconds since he checked the front door, and he has not identified himself as a police officer. At 2:32 a.m. and 48 seconds, the officer opens the gate and walks into the backyard. You see the air conditioning unit at the back of the house there. Just 8 seconds later, you see the officer walk to the window at the back of the house. Tatiana Jefferson is standing on the other side of that window. You hear the officer yell, "Put your hands up, let me see your hands."
Put your hands up, show me your hands.
He immediately fires the single shot through the window, killing Tatiana.
Those killed by police includes Ashley Carr's sister.
We never had a chance to agree. It's just like, it's so much.
October 12th will mark a year since Tatiana Jefferson was killed. Her other sister, Amber Carr, says hearing Jefferson's name chanted at protests is when the loss feels real.
Like, I really can't call her. I really can't just pop up at her house.
Wednesday, and chant another name on that list. Breonna Taylor was...
She was the closest thing to me. She was like my sister, my best friend, my cousin, all in one.
26 and full of life, a dedicated EMT with dreams of becoming a nurse, a helper, always there to lend a hand.
Say her name!
Breonna Taylor! Say her name! Breonna Taylor!
Now her name on the lips of so many protesters, continuing across the country seeking justice and police reform, pushing towards a national reckoning on race.
Does it make you proud knowing that Breonna is helping literally change the world right now?
I knew she was destined for greatness. I hate she had to go through this to prove it.
What do you...
I just want to talk a little bit about the day that I got the phone call from my son 2 days ago at 1:47 was the worst day of my life. He called and said he just got pulled over by the police. And then he said that, I said, well, why did you get pulled over? And he said, because I had air fresheners hanging in the rearview mirror. I said, okay, we'll take them down. He said he also, the police officers were asking about insurance. And I said, okay, when the police officer comes back to the window, put him on the phone and I can give him all of our insurance information. A second goes by and I hear the police officer come back up to the window and ask Dante to get out of the car. Dante asked for what? The police officer said, because, I'll explain to you when you get out of the car. He said, am I in trouble? He said, we'll explain all that when you step out of the car. Dante, and then they asked him to put the phone down. Dante put the phone down. I heard some scruffling. He got out of the car and I could hear the police officers and scruffling with him.
She was 16 years old. She was an honor roll student. And Micaiah had a motherly nature about her. She promoted peace. And that's something that I want to always be remembered.
Exercising violence and using us for target practice, they don't know what peace is.
This is a tragic incident for all involved, but especially for the family of the female. We're not releasing her name yet. We want to make sure that all next of kin has been notified. As I said earlier, the Bureau of Criminal Investigation is conducting the criminal investigation into this incident. At the conclusion of that investigation, the Division of Police will conduct an administrative review of the actions of this officer and all officers at scene. I can't answer a lot of questions at this point. Obviously, this is very new, and we're still gathering information that we can gather, but most of that information will be done by DCI. They're doing the investigation. We want to ensure that independent review from them, and we stay out of their way and provide the information that they request from us.
The only provider many of our children know is the white welfare agent or the white social worker. And because of this, many of our children mistake the white welfare agent or the white social worker as their father. And sometimes they're right. You see all these little half-white babies running around in the community. They're not that way because you and I want them to be that way. The white man rapes and ravishes and takes advantage of our women. He'll take your little sister. Yes, he will. Your little baby sister is the potential bait for every white man in Harlem. Your little daughter, your mother, your wife. Ask them sometimes. Every time they walk past the white man, he hits on them. He thinks that they're animals that he can abuse at will. This is where you get all these little half-white babies running around the street. None of them know who their daddy is. And all of them think that the white man is their daddy. And as I said, most of them are right. And if you and I, if we don't wake up and keep that white man away from our women, our race will really be destroyed. Keep that white man's claws off our women. Make him know that the best way, yes. I never would stand up to an audience as large as this and fail to warn you of the importance of protecting your own woman. You can't go in a white neighborhood and get a white woman. You can't get the white man's daughter in his neighborhood. You can't get his wife or his mother or his sister in his neighborhood. Then why should you let him walk around here in your neighborhood with your wife and your mother and your daughter and your sister? If you do it to him, he'll bust your head. And what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Remember that. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Do you understand what I'm saying? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Let him know that the price he'll have to pay when he pats your woman is either the loss of his hand or the loss of his arm or the loss of his head. And if you go to jail for taking his head, you went to jail for a good cause. You can go to prison and say, I came here because I defended our black women from the filthy paws of that blue-eyed white man. Yes, I'm saying it and I mean it. You can go in hotels around here and find these white men laying up there with black women. Why, you should snatch off their head. I mean snatch off their head. You and I will never be respected until we get some respect for this black woman. Make her straighten up and then straighten out that white man. And there's nothing wrong with that. No, what I'm telling you is not wrong. I'm telling you what is right. If he respects his women, then let's respect ours. And if he'll hang you for molesting his woman, you got your right to hang him for molesting your woman. Here in the state of New York, they have a state institution, penal institution for women. 70% of the women in the state prison institution, black women. 70% of the women in that prison, our women. The average age, 24 years old. Why, good God, man, what's happening to your woman? They're making her a prostitute. They're making her a drug addict. They're making her a lesbian. They're making her a harlot. They're making her a trollop. Because you and I won't stand up and be men. A man, when you're a man, you're not afraid to go to jail. When you're a man, you're not afraid to give your life. And when you're a man, you're not afraid to take someone else's life. You believe in a fair exchange. The overcrowded homes of our community force us to live under some of the worst sanitary conditions imaginable. It becomes almost impossible here in Harlem to practice the rules of good hygiene. Therefore, tuberculosis, TB, syphilis, gonorrhea, and other destructive social diseases are destroying the health and the moral fiber of our community. Our people here in Harlem are trapped in a vicious cycle of ignorance, poverty, disease, sickness, and death. And there seems no way out.
treated. I'm pissed. My phone is wet. Why are you so mad?
Because one of these camera dudes just pushed me just now. And I don't like to be touched by people I don't tell to touch me. So I'm going to get out of the building because if I touch somebody, I go to jail because they not the color of me. They not the same color I am. So you know how that go. So but to them,
leave the
bitch ass niggas, man. I've been just, man, I could go down the ladder on these pussy ass niggas playing with my name. Nigga, y'all niggas hoes, been hoes and gonna die hoes. Who made you a hoe, nigga? Well, fuck you, nigga. I hope your mammy died playing with me, bitch. Pussy in the can ass nigga. Nigga, I'm the realest nigga that ever did this rap music shit. Put niggas on, got rich, made other niggas rich and got richer and richer. Nigga, fuck you, nigga. Fuck you.
You dig what I'm saying?
Motherfuck you, nigga. I hope your mammy died playing with me, bitch. Shh. Man, let me go bumping my shit. Give me some G. Where that G at, slime? I'm trying to give my baby a Mercedes, man.